Conversations. I'm Marvin Fausto, President of COL Investment Management, your host for this afternoon's webinar series that brings you closer to the leaders of different businesses and known experts in markets and investing. For this conversation, we are pleased to have, at last, the first pure play in healthcare, an industry we are very much aware of these days. Medilines Distributors, Inc., or MEDIC, is a major distributor of essential medical equipment for cancer, dialysis, and diagnostic imaging. They are offering to the public via an IPO, raising close to 1.9 billion pesos. And we will be discussing their plans for the use of these funds, as well as their growth strategies for the future. Joining us to give the short presentation, starting off with Miss Patricia Yambing, Director and President of Medilines. She became a business unit head of Asia Medica, Inc. before joining Medilines as President and CEO. She held marketing positions in various multinational companies, including Microsoft, Kimberly-Clark, and Sara Lee. Joining her to present the financial highlights, we have Margarita Villarico, CFO and Treasurer. Prior to joining the company, she held positions in finance and accounting for 16 years with manufacturing and exporting companies. And later, during our Q&A, we will invite their chairman, Mr. Virgilio Jojo Villar, chairman of the board of Medilines. He took over the management of Medilines in 2008 and successfully managed it over the years to become one of the top distributors of medical devices and equipment in the Philippines. Jojo Villar had 21 years of experience as managing director of B. Brown Medical Supplies, Inc., a German multinational healthcare company in the Philippines, and also the major supplier of Medic. Okay, without further ado, let me welcome the people behind Medilines for their presentation. Pat, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Marvin. Good afternoon, and thank you for making the time to allow us to present to you Medilines Distributor, Inc. In this section, let me provide you a snapshot of our company. So I'll just get right to it. Medilines Distributors is an essential business. We distribute critical medical equipment to public and private healthcare facilities across the Philippines. Products such as linear accelerators for cancer treatment, dialysis machines for treatment of kidney diseases, and imaging machines such as CT scans, X-rays, and MRIs from world-leading principals such as B. Brown, Siemens Healthineers, and Varian. We are focused on 3 core categories: diagnostic imaging, dialysis, and cancer therapy. Categories that we carefully selected over years of experience to ensure that they will yield sustainable growth for us over the long term. As you can see in your upper right, in 2 out of 3 of these categories, Medilines is the dominant distributor. We have likewise demonstrated a track record of profitability. From 2018 to 2020, our top line grew at a healthy CAGR of 11.9%, owing to the resilient demand for our products, pandemic or not. Moving into 2021, our sales in the first half jumped to 815 million pesos, 281% compared to the first half of 2020, amounting to 214 million pesos. Net income during the first half of 2021 was at 100 million pesos, equivalent to almost 100% of the net income posted for the full year of 2020. Our operating environment continues to be favorable, as you can see in your lower right. An emphasis on the importance of healthcare is driving a prioritization of long-term investments in improving our facilities. The growth of the overall industry, as measured here by total healthcare expenditure, is poised to accelerate to 11.2% from 2021 to 2025. As stated, the healthcare industry has been growing, and the underlying reason is the increasing population and the increasing number of the elderly. In this next slide, you will see that we crafted our portfolio with the patients in mind. In this table, where you can find the most prevalent diseases among Filipinos, you will see that our products are used either in the diagnosis or treatment of practically each one. More hospitals have sprung up, while some have expanded to cater to the consequent demand. This is matched by higher expenditures in hospitals. The main driver would be the increased focus of the government in providing healthcare services to Filipinos. Examples would be the 2019 Universal Healthcare Law that pushes PhilHealth coverage to 100% of the population. Another example is the National Cancer Prevention and Control Action Plan, which is set to upgrade 24 hospitals across the Philippines into regional centers for cancer. These investments translate to further growth for medical equipment, in particular, the sub-industry that we play in. It is expected to grow at a very healthy rate of 11.7% to become an 82.7 billion market by 2025. And Medilines is well positioned to capture this growth. As stated, and as you can see in the lower part of the slide, we are the leading distributor of cancer therapy equipment, accounting for 90.4% of the market. Likewise, we also account for over 50% of the sale of dialysis equipment. For diagnostic imaging, we have about 18% of the market for X-rays and CT scans. Medilines has a broad portfolio of core critical medical equipment to address the need of both public and private facilities in the Philippines. We have talked about how we selected our 3 categories based on the most pressing need of patients. This is supported by the expected growth rates of these categories. As you can see in the second row, cancer therapy, which accounted for about 60% of our revenue so far in 2021, is expected to grow at a CAGR of 18.8%, way above the medical equipment market as a whole. The same is true for dialysis machines, which comprises 21% of our sales. Meanwhile, our diagnostic imaging products, which contributes about 16% of our sales, would grow in line with the wider market at 11%. Medilines has strong sales and marketing capabilities with long-standing relationships with key accounts in both the private and the public sectors. We have a solid track record of executing big-ticket projects. While principals do not exactly like the bureaucratic process, it becomes a barrier to entry to new players that benefits us, established players. The illustration to your left shows you the legal requirements for public tenders. This involves the know-how of the necessary documentary requirements, an assessment of the bidder's financial capacity through the net financial contracting capacity, a demonstration of the bidder's capability to take on big-ticket projects through the single largest completed contract, and finally, a demonstration of the bidder's specialized knowledge for the particular project via our track record or list of similar completed projects. Note that this illustration only describes eligibility and does not yet cover pricing and technical specification strategies. Continuing on, distribution is also very much relationship-based, especially for non-centralized purchasing. You have to be where you are, your customers are, and develop trust, something that Mr. Villar has been fostering for over 30 years. We have strategic partnerships with principals that are market leaders in their respective categories. Medilines has nationwide authorized distributorship of Siemens Healthineers for their imaging and advanced therapy devices. Siemens Healthineers, which is a German-based medical technology company, is a recognized world market leader and manufacturer with a 120-year history and almost 19,000 patents globally. Our company has also been a distributor of V. Brown for almost 20 years for their dialysis equipment and supplies. V. Brown is a 182-year-old German multinational. Varian is our third principal, whose partnership with us was formalized through Siemens. It is an American company with over 70 years of experience in pioneering advanced cancer-fighting tools. Our distribution expertise matches their manufacturing expertise, allowing their brands to dominate the Philippine market as well. We have an established operational expertise in the implementation of highly specialized and high-value medical equipment projects. As mentioned, principals can directly sell their products to customers via their regional, or if they have one, their local office in the Philippines. However, they tap distributors for about 40% of total sales historically to serve accounts that they are unable to. Distributors, in turn, mediate the sale to public and private healthcare facilities, and in cases where it would be more efficient to do so, Medilines also taps trusted third-party logistic providers or sub-dealers, especially for far-flung areas. Our years of experience in logistics of medical equipment has enabled Medilines to be present in all regions of the Philippines except for BARM and Mimaropa. That being said, our business is more than just transporting one product off the shelf to the customer. For one, majority of our products are highly specialized and high value with state-of-the-art technology. For example, the device at your upper left is a linear accelerator that sells for around 150 to 180 million pesos. It takes expertise to be able to market these, explain their benefits to end users, and modify the machine's technical specifications according to varying customer needs. On one hand, we sell products, but on the other hand, we also deal with projects. Projects would mean that the requirement of the customer would not only consist of the equipment itself, but also of infrastructure and other accessories needed to be able to run the equipment more smoothly. Oftentimes, the company will need to procure these elsewhere. The installation process, especially for projects, could take up to 6 months, as we will need to prepare the room at the facility and modify it based on international standards. For example, again, for linear accelerators, which deals with radiation, we need to shield the walls, the floor, the ceiling, either with metal or concrete to ensure that radiation will not leak. In the past 3 years, Medilines has practically the monopoly of experience among distributors in this regard. As complex as it is, we have fine-tuned our operations to control costs effectively. We directly transport the main equipment from the principal to the customer, saving on storage costs. The other requirements under the contract, which normally consist of machine accessories and for some, consumables, are stored in our warehouse, which is strategically located near our principals. From making the sale to the installation, our highly trained field personnel will ensure that every project is up to standard, increasing customer satisfaction and loyalty. Medilines has a founder-led management team with extensive knowledge of the Philippine healthcare industry. Our team has well-rounded experiences in relationship building, marketing, cost control, which are primary determinants of success in our industry. And of course, we are guided by Mr. Villar. With over 3 decades of experience in the medical equipment industry, he provides the company unparalleled insights vis-a-vis the competition. As we execute our next strategies for growth, our management team is undoubtedly capable in executing them. Now let me give the floor to our CFO, Marge, to discuss Mediline's track record of profitability.
Thank you, Pat, and good afternoon to everyone. In this section, I will provide you a snapshot of our company's track record of growth and profitability. Medilines has demonstrated steady growth over the years. Our revenues recorded a CAGR of 11.9% from 2018 to reach almost 1.5 billion pesos in 2020 on the back of a steady growth of our sales volume. While there were initial logistical difficulties in early 2020, which translated to a lower sales during the period, we managed to make up for it in the second half and still grow the top line on the back of a resilient demand. Demand has only strengthened since then, and we were able to cater to the larger requirements of healthcare facilities in 2021 as our revenues hit 815 million, setting us on track to reach our targets for the year. For our gross profit, margins play around 17% depending on the sales mix, as what we sell on an annual basis are relatively few in number but are high value products. Notably, our margin for the first half of 2021 broke past the 20% level owing to the strong growth in our consumables business, which are high margin products. This translates to a strong cash generation capability. Our EBITDA grew from 138 million in 2018 to 189 million in 2020, equivalent to 17.2% in CAGR. Our EBITDA margin for the first half of 2021 also jumped to about 20%, resulting in EBITDA of 159 million. Our net income rose at a rate of 16% in the last 3 fiscal years. While we were in the red in the first semester of 2020, as we were temporarily unable to deliver, we quickly rebounded to close the year with a profit of 103 million. As of June 30, 2021, our net income is at 100 billion, which is almost 100% of what we earned for the full year of 2020. I now turn you back to Pat for a discussion on the use of proceeds for the IPO.
Thank you, Marge. The sale of the primary shares for the IPO will provide the company an estimated 1.3 billion pesos. Our priority for the proceeds is to deploy 541.5 million pesos for our working capital requirements. Specifically, we intend to use this to grow our high-margin medical consumables business as we focus on growing our bottom line. The balance of what we will be able to raise would be used to pay off up to 743.1 million pesos of our interest-bearing loans. Aside from reducing our financing cost, this will strengthen our financial position, which we could leverage as we await more upcoming big-ticket projects to bid for. Of course, whenever strategic, we will make use of the various credit lines that we maintain in order to supplement this capital base. One of the most crucial aspects in our field is our ability to finance the cost of money, especially in fulfilling projects that require big capital investments where collections could stretch over a 6-month period. It is relatively a long cycle, but this is well within our expertise. It serves as a barrier to entry for competitors. The IPO will further strengthen our position to create value by serving more equipment and project requirements as the country continues with its push for healthcare as a national priority. For the succeeding slides, let me discuss our 5 growth strategies. Number 1, we will continue to join big-ticket projects in both the public and the private hospitals and capitalize on our eligibility, our know-how, and track record in the government bidding process. Secondly, we will further expand our customer base in fast-growing, under-penetrated markets across the Philippines as new hospitals are projected to rapidly grow. Number 3, we will continue to streamline our logistics systems by investing in technologies, infrastructure, and other systems that will enhance our operational efficiency. What you see here is our new warehouse that is currently under construction. Once operational, this shall mainly serve our consumables business, which is our growth focus. Our existing customers are already a captive market because these consumables are necessary to be able to operate the medical equipment that we have sold to them. This is even more so for some of these consumables are machine-specific. This will further improve our margins as according to Ken Research's industry report, medical consumables have the highest distributor gross margin among all medical device at 40 to 50%. Our 5th strategy is to venture into other high-profit healthcare categories outside of our 3 core categories to capitalize on the projected growth in the overall medical device market of 10.7% in the next 5 years, the fastest growing segment within the healthcare industry. This provides further opportunities for our expansion in the long term. So to summarize, Medilines is a leading player in our core categories of cancer therapy, dialysis, and diagnostic imaging. However, these 3 are subsets of a wider core medical equipment market that caters to other types of diseases. The 17 billion peso market is further supported by larger markets, medical consumables, and other medical equipment that in total would be worth 77 billion pesos. There are a lot more markets within the industry to tap, and we have already made the first step by foraying into consumables, the pillar of our growth strategy. Moving forward, our long-standing relationships with our clients nationwide, our strategic partnerships with world-leading principals, our broad portfolio that addresses the most critical needs of patients, these are our strengths that we will continue to leverage to execute these strategies. Under the direction of our founder-led management team, with a robust sales and marketing capability and operational expertise, we believe that we can turn our strategies into value for our shareholders as we have done so for over a decade. So that ends my presentation, and I hope that everyone now has a better appreciation of the value that we as distributors contribute to the Philippine healthcare industry. Thanks, everybody.